Okay, let's look at the how to find vertical asymptotes of rational functions. Right, so let's say you have a rational function f of x, which is p of x over q of x. Right, so there are a couple of steps that we need to do. Right, step one, we need to cancel all common factors between the numerator and the denominator. Right, and step two, we set the denominator equal to 0 and solve for x. Right, so let's do that. So here's an example. Right, so f of x is a rational function x squared minus 8x plus 7 over x squared minus 7x minus 8. Right, so step one, we need to factor out so that we can cancel the common factors. Right, so let's factor out the top polynomial. Right, so we can factor this guy out as, alright, so this is going to be, since we have to get x squared, so it's probably x times x. Alright, so we have to come up with two numbers. The product has to be 7, and the sum is going to be negative 8. Right, so in order to get 7, it's got to be 1 and 7, so it's going to be 1 here. Alright, 7 here. Right, then we have to get negative 8, so it's got to be negative sign here and also negative sign there. Right, the sum of negative 1 and a negative 7 is negative 8, and the product of negative 1 and negative 7 is positive 7. Right, so that's that. On the bottom, we can do that, factor it out similarly, so it's going to be, since we have to get x squared, so I'll split it as x here and x there. Right, so we have to come up with two numbers whose product is negative 8. So I'll probably try, let's negative 1 and a positive 8. Right, then the sum is going to be positive 7, so that will work out. Right, then you notice that there's a common factor, quantity x minus 1 on top and the same thing on the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and cancel those. Right, then we, step 2, we set the denominator equal to 0. So in this case, so we did step 1 right there. Right, and step 2 would be, we set the denominator, which is x plus 8, equal to 0. Right, then we can simply subtract 8 from both sides to isolate x. So x is equal to negative 8. Right, so therefore, if you want the vertical asymptote, right, vertical asymptote has the equation x equals negative 8. Right, so we have that. It's tempting to say that the x equals 1 is a vertical asymptote, but in this case it's not a vertical asymptote. The only vertical asymptote is x equals negative 8. Right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.